Hey y'all know how much I love Southern people. I live in Georgia in Atlanta, born in a little mill village over here in Cabbagetown, Fulton Bag Cotton Mill. A lot of my kinfolk work there. and I turned 69 on the 26th of this month. And I've always lived in the South, even though I've traveled all over, Vienna, Paris, Prague, London, Santiago. I've traveled. So I'm aware of what's out there. And I love New York City. I go back next month for a week in Manhattan, take my granddaughter. We love New York City as Southerners. We go a couple of times a year and it's expensive up there, and we stay in Times Square and spend a whole week and just run around New York. We just like it. One of my favorite cities in the world. But I've scratched my head over the last 5 or 6 years trying to put just heads or tails on why are all these Southern people so dug in so deeply on supporting Donald Trump, who we all know that if you're not lured into that kind of cult mentality, we all know he's a seedy person. He's a grifter. He's not a person you'd want to do business with. You would never trust him. You know he'd turn on you, sue you, try to take everything you get. You just know he has a history. He does it openly. And so Southern people are such sweet, kind, gentle people. They just have a gentleness about them. And a lot of them are just raised up poor. They do anything for you. You call them whatever and say, they just giving people. They good people. That's what I want to start with. I love Southern people. I'll stop at a store or something somewhere and talk to somebody and for 15, 20 minutes and they just feel like one of my cousins or something. Southern people are very hospitable, very kind to people. And so I scratch my head. I know we have a history of slavery. We have the history of the Confederate flag. We have the history of civil rights and the Edmund Pettus Bridge and the KKK. And I know our history. I'm well aware of it. It's deep-seated into our culture, the racism and bigotry that still is prevalent across the South, even now. And even though a lot of white people's they don't see it in themselves, but people you can kind of see it. You don't have to look that hard. But I wonder why we can't get them to come over and be open-minded to vote for Kamala Harris. And really and truly, I'm just going to be honest with you. If you think you're going to sway a Trump supporter to come over and vote Democratic, it's a waste of time. And here's why I say this, because it has a deep cultness to it, a cult mentality. Now, those of us on the Democrat side, you see how quick we threw poor old Joe Biden under the bus. We just threw him under and said, we done. Come on, let's move him. Put Vice President Kamala Harris. We're not in a cult with her either, because if she stumbled or faltered a little bit, the Democrats are like, yep, we done with her. Throw her under the bus and get Pete Buttigieg. Trump people are not like that. They have a history. Most of them are religious. Most of them have a mentality, if they're born in a Pentecostal family, they'll be Pentecostal until the day they die. If they're born in a Baptist family, they'll be Baptist till the day they die. And back in the evangelical days, 40 years ago in my youth, we try to convert Baptists over to Pentecostal. You just pissing in the wind, as they say in the South. It ain't going to happen. And I've had them tell me, said, my granny was Baptist, my mama was Baptist, my daddy was Baptist, and I'll be Baptist till the day I die. So they get kind of in this cult mentality. And Donald Trump knows that because, he wasn't lying when he says, listen, folks, I could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue in cold blood, and not one of them would not vote for me. I'd feel insulted if Kamala Harris said that about me. I couldn't vote for her. Just on that statement alone, if she got on TV and she says, I could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and Eddie Sellers would still be out there campaigning and supporting me, I'm like, no, you lost me with that, hon. I can't do that. My brain don't work that way. So what do we do? And here's the other discombobulation in my brain. I've got a buddy of mine that owns a barbecue place. He goes to all the Trump rallies. Come through Atlanta, bring me a big old bucket of barbecue and ribs, and just as sweet as he can be. And, and in my talking to him, I asked him, I said, don't you feel a little bad? And he told me, he said, well, I was at a rally and the lights flickered off for a few seconds, came back on. And he said, Donald Trump made the statement, said, well, we'll deduct our pay for them for the lights flicker, and said they won't get paid for this event, you know, because the electricity is something. And this is an honest God, true story. And he told me, he said, Eddie, it made me kind of feel a little weird when he said that. I'm like, you just don't try to find reasons to beat people out of their money. He said, I didn't like that about him, but I'm still going to vote for him. So, I don't know. It's a strange thing to see people that your kinfolks, your neighbors, people that you care about, Southern people, and we see that they're so deeply deceived, and they've wrapped Jesus up in with Donald Trump. And yet, if we stood on the outside and just looked, there's no way anybody could ever say, I'm following after the teachings of Christ, and that has led me to vote for Donald Trump. There's no way. It's so easy to see that. So we're going to get through this period. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. It could potentially destroy our nation, and it's come close to doing it on January the 6th. You know, I would have thought the people that I've respected, and I've lost a lot of respect for people. I thought the people I respected, when the President of the United States sat on his hands for 4 hours in the White House and wouldn't even make a phone call to stop the killing and rampage going on at the Capitol, I would have thought the people that I was raised up around, Southern people, they'd be like, oh, hell no. Hell no. He will never get my vote again. Strange, isn't it? Strange. We just go forward. I don't know what to do about them. I know you can't get them to vote for Kamala Harris. My focus is on, my mission is clear, carry Georgia, beat Trump, and exhort. It's going to be about turnout. We've got to get the independents and Democrats to turn out in record numbers. I don't even want it to be close. I don't want it to be close. I want Texas to go blue. I want Florida. They're like, oh my God, Florida went. I want Florida to go blue. We've got to stop this craziness of these Trump supporters. We just got to. See y'all.